All right, what's going on, brothers? Hopefully everything's going good. Hopefully everything's going well for you guys. All right, brothers. In this video. This is my question: how big of a problem is the simp? All right. Now, I wanted to talk about this because I've seen. I ain't gonna say a lot, but I've seen every now and again. I keep seeing social media content creators. Simp this, simps. I'm telling you, man, it's these simps. If it weren't for the simps, this wouldn't be happening. This is all the simp. And I disagree. And in the background, you see a werewolf, which is a mythical creature. Not saying the simp is mythical, but he's a mole turned into a mountain. You know, he is made out to be this big bad werewolf. Like he's just like you know how you see a werewolf, one werewolf will come and just kill 20, cause all this chaos. And it's no. I wouldn't even put the simp in the top five. There, I wouldn't even put him in the top 10 of problems that we have. If we sit down and really just look at the things that's contributing to the bad behaviors between the dynamics between the so-called black man and so-called black woman, I wouldn't even pick, I don't think that the simp would even make it to the top 10. Definitely not the top five. It's other contributing factors, brothers. Major. It's bigger fish to fry than the simp. Do they exist? Yes, they do. But they make the simp out to be this big bad werewolf, as you see right here, when he's really just a coyote. Coyote can bring damage, but it's more so what? A nuisance. They making him out like he's very severe, like he's just, he's just causing, straight up monstrous chaos. And I would disagree. He's more of a nuisance than anything. He's more of an after effect, so to speak. Right? So that's why I would look at it like that. And also, brothers, look at the women you see who have these bad behaviors. And you talking about it's because the simps, blah, blah, blah. Look at those women. And look who they actually deal with. Look at the men that they actually deal with. Do some of them deal with simps? Of course they do. Simps do exist. But look who they actually deal with. Look who they're actually dealing with. More often than not, I'm willing to bet you. I know I can lose some of this bets, but I'm willing to bet you if we did like a. This is something I'm willing to bet. This is just a theory. I ain't gonna say this absolute truth. I'm willing to bet you if we was able to do a real good study on this and see who those women actually deal with, I want to bet you more often than not they'll be dealing with a guy like Stephon Diggs, the offsets of the world, the Pookies, the Ray Rays, whatever you want to call those type of guys. Those tend to be the guys that they deal with, and those tend to be the guys that they what? Have kids with. You understand what I'm saying? So who's more of a contributing factor? That woman with that bad behavior has a kid, especially a daughter. Chances are it's a great possibility that what she's gonna pass those bad behaviors on to what? Her kids. You understand what I'm saying? So who's really more of a problem, right? We can look at it from that standpoint. It's you simps, you simp. No, no, the simp, and I'm not here to defend simps, but the simp is not a werewolf. He's not a major block. This for the people. This is for the content creators who do that. You know, they are like simp. I just a few content creators I see. I'm like, and I'm not knocking them. But I'm just like, I just think, and it's not just them. I seen it in real time as well. Like, nah, I don't think the simp is that big of a problem, man. I just don't. And a lot of guys who are simps, man, they really stay out the way. They really stay out the way. They really do. They really stay out the way, and the woman tends to run over them. A lot of times, the simp is somewhere working, and she's out doing whatever she want to do. You know I ain't lying. I know you got different degrees of symptom, as you would say, but you know I ain't lying. You know, I ain't lying, man. I done seen it before, man. I done seen a simp take a girl to go see a guy that she's messing with, not aware of the fact, oblivious to the fact. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? But it's so many stories I can tell you that happened and is going on now. A simp goes to work and leave men in the house with his woman, who is in turn sleeping with his woman. You know, you think he don't know? Yeah, he know, but he looks over it for whatever reason. That type of behavior, right? That type of behavior, right? But anyway, man. So I mean, it is what it is. I'm not saying simps don't exist, but he's more of a coyote than anything. He's more of a coyote than anything. He's not a big bad werewolf. All right. So just look at those women who you say had a bad behavior. They have that bad behavior, whatever whatever you want to call it. City girl mind frame, the boss bees, whatever. Look who they actually deal with. Look who they actually deal with. Look who they actually have kids with. Look at that. I'm not saying some of them don't get Sims. They do. Sims do come into play. They definitely do. But more often than not, you'll see them dealing with the futures of the world. Oh, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? The Step Fun Dig types and all that, the whatever you want to label them guys. You'll see them more so dealing with those guys than the simp. You understand what I'm saying? So, but anyway, brother, that's it. That's just my thoughts on it. I think the simp is more so of a coyote. He's more so of a nuisance than anything. But he's not a major contributing factor to the bad behaviors in this, with these dynamics, especially in the so-called black community. You understand what I'm saying? In the so-called black community, I just don't, and also I'm like, if the Sims was that big of a contributing factor, I don't think you would have so many women complaining. I don't think you would. But I understand you might say, well, they don't want the Sim. Okay, yeah, they probably don't want them. I can understand that. So you know what, you got a good point there, maybe, but I just I'm talking about women are complaining. I'm talking about these are some of their complaints. They need help. The guy won't help them. The guy their friends on won't help them. Blah blah blah. So I'm like, how much simps are simping? Not saying simps don't. You know what I mean? Like, well, he won't help me. He won't give me nothing. I can't get nothing out of him. Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of complaints in real time and on social media. Like I say, they do exist. But anyway, brother, that's just my thoughts on it, man. I might do another video where I just, but I do maybe do a deep dive on it. But for the out, I ain't gonna say for that, but you know, just on the surface, I would say the simp is definitely not that major of a factor. But anyway, brothers, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. I'm out. Peace.